Hello every folks, and welcome to a video that I wish I could have found last year. To make a long story short, there's a lot of different versions of FFT, and specifically War of the Lions here. And, well, between all the different versions, personally, I was always sticking with the original for the longest time just because it was snappier, it was just generally more responsive, the sound was better, and just generally speaking, my main issue with it was always that it still took a while to actually get into any types of runs with that one. I mean, I love doing challenge runs, but yeah, didn't know how to get into War of the Lions because after I went back to the PSP version, it was not a good time to go back into the PSP version because I just got reminded of all the jank that came with that one, and so here's what we have right here. We have the iOS version, and I believe that it actually works the same way for Android as well. I'm not 100% certain, but I have to say, if you're looking to try FFT, in 2021 here, this is the version to do it. Now, as far as everything goes, the original will still have the better sound. This one still has the sound jank, but everything else is better here. So you don't have to worry about things like, sorry, it got a little bit cut off there in the bottom right, I just noticed. Got a little bit distracted. But for example, animations and stuff like that are improved. Just generally speaking, it looks better. It's actually pretty nice to control stuff on an iPad, I gotta say. Especially for these kinds of games here. But yeah, you may notice visually, everything just kind of... Well, it looks different. I didn't like it at first, but truth be told, it kind of grew on me. I really like how they kind of pastellated everything. It kind of fits, oddly enough. As far as general issues that come with this one, you've got a little bit of menu jank, you've got a little bit of slowdown on certain menus, but for the most part, it's actually pretty solid. You can kind of jump around menus pretty well. You can double tap stuff to make everything easier. Kind of do the whole finger slide up and down thing. So as far as all that goes, control-wise, fantastic. And in fact, yeah, as far as general speed, speed of inputs and stuff like that, I wouldn't say it's quite like Tactics Ogre Remake levels, but it's pretty solid in terms of all that. Additionally, yeah, if you wanted to move to a particular place, you actually just have the option to just go into the menu like this, so that's pretty dandy there if you can't remember where something is. Now let's just go ahead and get into a rando here just to show you some of this stuff. Some of the transition screens, again, still have the same thing that the PSP Remake did, where they're just a little bit strange looking. In this particular case, I was actually setting up to do a onion-only run, if you're wondering why the hell the guy's name's Sigmire. But anyway, let's just go ahead and do this thing here. It's sometimes a little bit weird to get some of those back tiles. However, that's actually why I'm pulling up the battle menu here, because, or the battle screen here. Because there's actually, there's a lot of friendliness features in this game. Or in this particular version. The reason that I say this is the definitive one, there's a reason this is the one that's used for speedruns. Because it runs so much faster. To the point that I don't even mind the whole sound thing. And by the way, if you've never played the original, you probably won't even hear the sound thing. But yeah, right there. That animation took absolutely ages in the PSP version, or in some of the other versions. Additionally, you have a free camera kind of situation, which is pretty cool. You can set it to adjust in different ways. Let's go ahead and have this guy go over here. You can also get all crazy zoomed in and stuff like that. So you can go all the way in. So if you wanted that close-up XCOM view, there you go. It's in there as well. I'm just going to go punch a lion in really, really close-up pixel art. So, like I said, this is the one to do it on. Additionally, as you noticed earlier, it actually has a mid-battle save, which is pretty solid. So if you ever need to just put it down, cancel it out, and you accidentally turn off the app in the background, by the way, you still have the old FFT RNG as you do. Just a good old everything is going to inevitably fail every single time type situation. Let's go ahead and send all this. Yeah, same old AI thing. You can totally do an AI-only run with this. Go ahead and try and zoom out a little bit, but if you're in the AI menu, it actually doesn't let you zoom out, apparently. But yeah, the AI, what I was trying to show here, the AI is freaking snappy. It's just it's on it. It is ready to go. And so, yeah, if you ever wanted to just completely blaze through a particular thing here, just set that mess to AI. Here, do we have... Yeah, you can actually move the screen around this way too, which is pretty fantastic. So if you need to move around a little faster that way. But yeah, I legitimately love this version. As far as the different versions of FFT, this is the main one that I've actually been able to get into in recent times here. It's like I would go back to the original, and then immediately as you get to that initial intro screen, and you get to the section, it's like, oh god, what on earth did I just get myself in for? We're not sitting through these cutscenes again. And actually, that's the next thing here. This version, again, learning from TO Remake, actually did come with a cutscene skip. I know you might say other games did cutscene skip first. I always like to think of FFT and TO just kind of like bouncing ideas off each other, because they're like in all the re-releases, they're constantly copying stuff off each other. But look how fast those animations are this time. You notice how, unlike the PSP version, that animation didn't take half an hour to complete? Yeah, it's good. It's fantastic. This is definitely the definitive version of this one. So, like, everything's just snappy. You set it up, it's all good to go. Yeah, if you ever want to go full AI mode on this. Actually, I always really like the AI settings for FFT. It's nice. It's nice, but yeah, you can absolutely just set them all to defend each other, and there will be a little circle of pain. Got these little arrows on the right here. They don't always seem to want to respond. But yeah, I believe this 3D kind of movement situation is probably why they ended up switching over to this art style, because it does look good from all directions. They do seem to have, I wouldn't say proper 3D models or anything, but they do seem to hold up a lot better to the weird angles and stuff like that. And you can angle it in certain ways that stuff looks just really strange. The camera will automatically default to its normal angles as soon as stuff gets going, so you kind of got this cool, like, dynamic camera going on. Kind of depending on different fights. Sometimes I like having it zoomed in, sometimes zoomed out. Yeah, let's I'm gonna switch over to AT, which, by the way, AT just has its own dedicated button. So if we go to this, we can actually just do this real quick. Let's give it a quick second, see if it responds. Actually, don't do interrupt commands that often in this one. Yeah, there we go. So it automatically does the command as soon as you tell it to go into the menu. So there we go. You can zoom out all the dang way. I believe this is maybe like 20% farther than it was in the original. So you'll see, like, right there, like with accumulate, some of the effects may look a little bit odd in this particular way. So, like, for example, if you're doing stuff like well, stuff with certain effects, it may potentially just, you know, not quite render right. But again, it's fine. You don't notice it because it's going by so dang fast. Another thing I should mention: the multiplayer mode is not in this one. However, and I'm still looking into this particular thing, but the items are just added to the fur shop, essentially. So apparently it starts off in Chapter 3, so you may be able to get, like, the full onion gear and stuff like that fairly early. I could be wrong in that. Like I said, I specifically am going through this run right now with the express purpose of figuring out where exactly the stuff unlocks, because I've heard conflicting information online. So we'll get to that when we get to it. Now, that being said, this is definitely the kind of the definitive one to go for, so to speak. Again, you got cutscene skip, everything's snappy, you got the nice moving camera. It's not, I think it sounds a little bit better. It's not exactly, again, like the original, but it's close enough that it really doesn't matter. Like, it looks good, it plays good. If you're looking to get into FFT nowadays, this is hands down the version to be playing. I mean, I guess that's about it, really. Everything else seems to be about the same. You still got all your standard cutscenes in there. They do transition a little bit better than the PSP version. But yeah. Anyway, my timer on this whole screen sharing thing is about to run out, so have yourselves a good one. Take care.